Restoration poetry. The Restoration period began in which year? Option A 1600, option B 1660, option C 1700, option D 1720. Answer option B 1660. The Restoration period is named after the restoration of which monarch to the throne? Option A Charles I, option B Charles II, option C James II, option D William III. Answer option B Charles II. Which poet is considered the leading satirist of the Restoration period? Option A Alexander Pope, option B John Dryden, option C Samuel Butler, option D Andrew Marvell. Answer option B John Dryden. Which poem by John Dryden celebrates the restoration of Charles II? Option A Absalom and Achitophel, option B Annus Mirabilis, option C Mac Flecknoe, option D The Hind and the Panther. Answer option B Annus Mirabilis. The poem Mac Flecknoe is an example of option A an epic, option B a mock epic, option C a lyrical ode, option D a religious allegory. Answer option B a mock epic. Which poetic form became popular during the Restoration period? Option A blank verse, option B heroic couplet, option C free verse, option D Spenserian stanza. Answer option B heroic couplet. John Dryden's Absalom and Achitophel is a option A political satire, option B love poem, option C religious allegory, option D pastoral elegy. Answer option A political satire. Who wrote the satirical poem Hudibras, which mocks Puritans? Option A John Dryden, option B Alexander Pope, option C Samuel Butler, option D John Milton. Answer option C Samuel Butler. The tone of Restoration poetry can best be described as option A romantic and imaginative, option B realistic and satirical, option C solemn and religious, option D nostalgic and pastoral. Answer option B realistic and satirical. Which literary work is considered the first great political satire in English poetry? Option A Hudibras, option B Mac Flecknoe, option C Absalom and Achitophel, option D Annus Mirabilis. Answer option C Absalom and Achitophel. Characteristics and themes of Restoration poetry. Question number 1. A major characteristic of Restoration poetry is its focus on option A nature and solitude, option B urban life and social commentary, option C mysticism and spirituality, option D heroic legends and mythology. Answer option B urban life and social commentary. Restoration poetry often employed which type of humor? Option A romantic humor, option B satirical and bawdy humor, option C innocent and playful humor, option D dark and gothic humor. Answer option B satirical and bawdy humor. Which of the following themes is least associated with Restoration poetry? Option A satire and criticism of society, option B celebration of courtly life, option C glorification of medieval chivalry, option D exploration of political conflicts. Answer option C glorification of medieval chivalry. The Restoration period marked a decline in Option A, religious allegories. Option B, satirical poetry. Option C, political commentary. Option D, urban themes. Answer option A, religious allegories. Restoration poetry reflects a transition from option A, medieval romantic ideals to classical themes. Option B, Elizabethan lyricism to witty and intellectual poetry. Option C, romantic imagination to modernist realism. Option D, Victorian morality to existential nihilism. Answer option B, Elizabethan lyricism to witty and intellectual poetry. MCQs on major poets of the Restoration period. John Dryden was appointed as the first official. Option A, Poet Laureate of England. Option B, Master of Revels. Option C, Bard of the Court. Option D, Critic of the King. Answer option A, Poet Laureate of England. Which Restoration poet is associated with the phrase Father of English Criticism? Option A, Alexander Pope. Option B, John Milton. Option C, John Dryden. Option D, Samuel Butler. Answer option C, John Dryden. Who succeeded John Dryden as Poet Laureate? Option A, Thomas Shadwell. Option B, Alexander Pope. Option C, Samuel Butler. Option D, Edmund Waller. Answer option A, Thomas Shadwell. Alexander Pope, although writing slightly after the Restoration, is best known for his use of option A, blank verse. Option B, heroic couplets. Option C, Spenserian stanzas. Option D, free verse. Answer option B, heroic couplets. Restoration poets were heavily influenced by option A, Italian Renaissance poetry. Option B, French neoclassical ideals. Option C, German romantic poetry. Option D, Greek tragedies. Answer option B, French neoclassical ideals. MCQs on specific words and influences. What is the primary subject of Dryden's The Hind and the Panther? Option A, love and betrayal. Option B, a religious allegory of Protestant and Catholic beliefs. Option C, a celebration of Charles II. Option D, satirical mockery of Puritans. Answer option B, a religious allegory of Protestant and Catholic beliefs. Samuel Butler's Hudibras criticizes option A, the monarchy and aristocracy. Option B, the hypocrisy of the Puritans. Option C, the literary styles of his time. Option D, romantic idealism. Answer option B, the hypocrisy of the Puritans. Restoration poetry often adhered to the principles of option A, romanticism and emotional excess. Option B, neoclassicism and order. Option C, naturalism and realism. Option D, Gothic and mystical themes. Answer option B, neoclassicism and order. Dryden's Mac Flecknoe is a satire directed at option A, Puritan leaders. Option B, Thomas Shadwell. Option C, Charles II. Option D, Samuel Butler. Answer option B, Thomas Shadwell. Which event is described in John Dryden's Annus Mirabilis? Option A, the execution of Charles I. Option B, the Great Fire of London and the Dutch Wars. Option C, the restoration of Charles II. Option D, the Glorious Revolution. Comment below the answer.